this is when I came and met you in your new office.
Yeah.
And I did a vlog about it.
I wouldn't even call it an office.
Yeah.
No, it was like a space. But anyway, we were in there, and I was.
Space is pretty generous too.
All right,
What's it there?
all right. It was a dingy little shit.
For the first episode of the Daily Grind podcast, we're kicking things off by having our insanely talented mates Liam and Mike on the show.
They're two professional photographers and YouTubers from Melbourne with a lot to say. Hope you enjoy.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the Daily Grind. My name is Kieran.
I'm Walter. We're here with Liam and Mike, better known as Seventh Era, which is Liam's Instagram, and North Borders, which is Mike's.
G'day.
How's it
How are we?
going?
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here
Mate,
today.
that was a good timing with the.
Yeah, there
little
you go.
ding. You got it.
Okay, so what's the go with the kettle?
Yeah, so pretty much what, maybe I'll get Walt to explain sort of the little premise of our
Yeah.
podcast idea.
Okay, yeah. So, if I can really break it down, the Daily Grind is about, talking to cool people about cool things that they're doing.
We're cool.
I know we started.
You start by blowing up the coffee. Mythbusters.
Good work,
Yeah,
sir.
make it really,
Kieran?
really hard for me to.
Have you ever
explain
made a
what we're doing.
blend 43 before? This is your first
Yeah,
time.
I don't-
What part
would
of it
you
says
say
blend
what?
43? Oh, okay, yeah.
So yeah, for each episode that we're going to do of the Daily Grind, we're going to have some sort of different coffee beans since we are from Melbourne. As we know, it's pretty
Yep.
much the city of coffee.
Yep.
So
Huge
fuck with us.
huge enthusiast.
that's
for coffee.
right. Yeah. So for our first and favorite guests, we're really bringing out the big guns here.
Mate,
So we have
Melbourne
The
Kinda.
coffee machine was going into service.
Yeah.
What really happened?
Yeah, first ever
I'm just gonna
podcast,
dog-
and our coffee machine got picked up this
I'm
morning.
going to
So
throw you guys immediately under the bus.
yeah, due to average scheduling,
mate.
we didn't really do the timing right for the coffee machine service. How many other spoons should I do?
I reckon one.
Just one.
Yeah, come on, put a bit more.
yeah,
Wait, do you
double-
guys have milk with your coffee?
we usually do. Yes.
Usually,
yeah,
but
good.
Oh, God.
No,
we
don't.
we didn't bring any. No, we didn't buy any.
I hate black coffee.
Do you?
Yeah, I
Oh,
hate
you're
it.
going to learn to love it.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
This
Once
is the
you go
episode
black,
where
bro.
you might love it.
Oh, well, I'm keen to test that theory out today on this podcast.
Alrighty.
Can I double down my coffee?
Yeah,
I might-
sure. Well, I'll do this one for Liam. This one.
What's
didn't have
double
too
down?
much.
I might just go for two or three
go.
shots
Oh,
here.
Jesus Christ, this smells. I can't wait to eat. I mean, eat this.
He's basically eating coffee beans.
Yeah, just while we do
Oh,
this,
it
I
smells
reckon
beautiful.
I reckon a good starting point is just a little sort of story of how we met each other, because for a lot of us, it's actually quite interesting. Like, I met Mike in Japan randomly.
Oh yeah, I forgot about.
You know what's funny? I've known about you for 6 years.
Yeah,
That's cute. That's cute.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
pretty much likewise.
And you
so
know what they say? 7 years for a friendship, it's unbreakable.
Oh,
We've always
fuck.
been friends.
Really?
Technically, I don't know if you've known me for 6
Mate,
years,
you've
but
known
I've
each
known
other
about
for
you.
like a year.
I'm actually your stalker.
Yeah,
and,
you've still got
and
a
this is all
year to
planned.
get this solid though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could fuck up.
You telling him that
Oh,
might
so
be
hard.
the moment
The
that breaks
ultimatum.
it. Yeah.
Fuck it all up.
I might just double
Right.
down if you don't mind.
yeah,
Pass
no,
me that.
go for it. But yeah, just for a
don't wanna
little
have this
rundown for those who don't know, Mike and I had a mutual friend called Rod. Shout out to Rod. And I actually got into sort of filmmaking by making action videos with Rod. So
Yeah.
as you know, we made a lot of
Yeah.
real life Call of Duty zombies
Called- yeah.
videos.
That was sick.
right.
And all while that was happening, I think you were
went,
getting.
I went to school with Rod.
There
so
you
he
go.
moved to my school in year 7 or year 8 or something. And
Yep.
I started hanging out with him. Same sense of humor, both into gaming, both
Yep.
into making videos and stuff. And he was always going on about, I'm making COD zombie videos with my mate Kieran and all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, I'll introduce you. Just never, never
happened.
got around to it. Obviously too busy being a 14-year-old kid making zombie
That's
movies.
right, yeah.
Never got around to it. And then that's about it. Yeah, I can't even remember what sort of happened in between that and
Yeah.
Japan
Yeah.
with our relationship. I don't even know if you really knew about me, but
I
I had
did,
a lot of
yeah.
mutuals with you.
Yeah.
Which was funny.
I knew about you for like 3 years before. I was following you on Instagram when you were on like 10,000 followers or something. And I only made the connection that it was you and Rod when Sam Zumi came into the picture, obviously.
Other mate Sam.
Yeah, which was crazy. But yeah, I think it's interesting how like we're all sort of doing similar things in the aspect of like doing things for ourselves.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
we all like technically like knew of each other.
I think the first time that I met Mike, and I don't even remember if you remember this, it was before I even got into film, which was pretty crazy.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it might have even been the time that I did get into film around then, maybe like year 9 or 10. You were longboarding with Sol and Tristan back in the day.
What?
And
And I met you.
yeah, Sol ran into you in the city and he was like, "Oh dude, I've been longboarding with this guy that has like so many Insta followers."
Oh,
And I was like, "Who is this guy?" And you probably only had like 3,000 at the time, which is just goes to show where your head's at in like
funny.
year 9.
Oh my God,
And yeah, so
that's
I remember
funny.
the first time I met you was in
Was that in the city? Because
Yeah,
I remember
it was in the
I remember
city.
specifically bumping into Saul, and he gave me Tristan's contact because he was like, my mate's a pilot, and that's when
Yeah.
I called Tristan.
that Tristan, same Tristan.
Yeah, same.
Oh.
It's
small
all
world.
connected,
Wait,
bro.
what?
It's all
Yeah.
connected, right? Hang on. I don't
Far
remember because obviously he would have just briefly,
yeah.
but that's because I knew Saul because I used to skate with him.
yeah.
That's why I don't really remember the connection.
Yeah,
there. That's
yeah.
so funny.
That's the first time I met you. And I only really thought back on that when I was chatting to Sol about longboarding. Because
Really?
I found that pretty funny.
Far
That
out.
is
I
funny.
didn't even realize how like the little storylines in between like, how we
Yeah.
all met and how it's all connected.
It's literally like a cinematic universe. It's
Yeah.
a multiverse.
I
Yeah,
know,
literally,
and
everyone's
Spider
connected.
Man. Every one of us is Spider Man.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
everybody's talked about Mike. Where do you come into it, Lee?
So I met Tristan because we were talking to him on Instagram,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a pilot," and he was like 19 at the time, which was awesome. And like, who else is 19 and is a pilot
We
in
started
Melbourne?
flying before driving. Or
Yeah.
something. So
Yeah.
it was like, what
Yeah.
the
So
who is this guy?
He was like, "We're going up for a test flight over Melbourne. Do you want to come with us?" And we're like, "Yeah, awesome." So we went for a sunset flight over the city,
Yeah.
which was so cool. And he was like, "I've got some mates who do like video, and they have their own business and everything. They're young like us." And I was like, "All right." And then I think how did we actually meet though?
Yeah, so I remember you came into our first office
Oh,
when we
yes.
were illegally operating out of a 1-bedroom apartment. And
I remember.
Liam came in for a quick chat.
Dude, I walked up the stairs
Yeah.
like into this apartment building, and then there's like
That's
literally
right.
7 people or like whatever, 5 people, just laptops everywhere. There's like
Yeah.
a bed in one
Yeah.
room. They're all just working away, editing different videos.
Yeah.
I can't remember why I couldn't come to that for some reason.
I think
It
it
was
was,
very dangerous very quickly.
it was the classic gag. You're probably on a shoot, I reckon.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, that was. Then we met there, and then
Yeah, I reckon there's a good segue into like a little thing we can talk about, which I've been actually wanting to ask you guys for
Yeah.
ages,
Yeah.
which is like your horror story of working with clients. Because I remember when Liam came into our 1-bedroom apartment that we were illegally operating a business out of, it was the whole discussion about how you may have been trying to get some work with someone who owned a restaurant, and it was like the classic thing of like,
yeah.
mate, you're charging too
Dude,
much, you're charging.
I remember that. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that
Dude,
guy
this
too.
guy,
That was
so,
a
like-
tosser.
Yeah.
Pretty much, he wanted me to do like photos of his restaurant for his menu.
Yep, yep.
And I was like, yeah, cool. Because I'd done a little bit of food photography before that. So I was like pretty confident
Yep.
in doing it because it's not that hard.
Yep.
And when I sat down with him, and he was like, I can't remember his name. It doesn't actually matter.
Yep.
But I sat down with him, had a meeting, and we're going through the photos. And he was like, I'm thinking maybe 30 photos a month for like a post every day.
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, fair enough. And then I said, all right, I'll charge to run the actual Instagram account and to post it. Like I would be running the whole account, interacting with everyone. I charged him $500 a week. Right, that's like a full-time job, right?
Yep.
And I think that's pretty fair to come in and take the photos.
You're underselling so
Well,
much.
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
that's like
Yeah.
nothing. Like
Yeah.
it's chump
Just didn't
change
know,
if you're running
yeah.
a restaurant. But I was like, what, 18 at the time, so
Yeah.
I didn't really know.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the guy turns back to me and he goes, mate, I'll charge you, or like I want to pay you $300 a month to do that.
Yeah.
That's
And I was
insane.
charging him $500 a week.
Yeah.
Like,
That's brutal.
dude, what's that?
Like-
What's $300 a month every week?
That's $75 a week.
There
Dude.
you go.
I don't know what he
That's
was thinking,
robbery.
but that's just like clients for you. People don't
Yeah.
understand. Not everyone understands the work that goes into
Yeah.
the
I think-
creative industry.
I think as well there's a massive sort of, I don't know if it's always been like this, like since our parents have been around, but a lot of people just don't want to pay for something that's good. For example,
No.
this kettle.
Yeah, yeah.
It's amazing, right?
It's a fantastic kettle.
I mean, because how much did you pay for it?
Well, you know,
It's triple digit number.
yeah, it was
Let's just let-
$220.
Okay, right.
I'm actually quite proud about
Okay,
it.
right.
I'm not
and
even
I
going to
bet you this kettle will outlive all of us tenfold because of the quality and engineering behind this
Yeah,
kettle. Like
and the
$200.
quality of our lives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, especially the fire shoots. If we keep doing shit like
Yeah,
that,
that's
we'll be
right.
dead very quickly.
That's right.
Especially with all this blend 43.
Yeah.
I haven't even tried it. It's too hot.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What about
that-
you guys?
did-
What's your client horror story? Do you have
Oh,
one?
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, do we have horror
so
stories?
many.
Well, you guys just work with clients. You guys rely on
Yeah.
clients to do your business.
So yeah, that was actually before we get into that, I wanted to ask, like, since you guys are now, you know, you're going towards the avenue of you really are like doing stuff all for your own, and you may in the very near future not even be dealing with those sorts of people anymore and those sort of traditional clients like Walt and I do. And like, are you still finding that even though you are able to essentially like, you know, do your own thing as Liam and Mike, as North Borders and Seventh Era, are you still running into those sort of like traditional issues of having to deal with people like that, or having to, you know, undersell yourself in sometimes? Because I think what's important, or like what Walt and I want to get across to a lot of the people listening to this podcast, is like, we are all like early 20s, young 20-year-olds, but you know, we sometimes have to have the mindset of being these like, you know, 40-year-old businessmen.
Yeah.
We have to have the attitude that we know what we're talking about, which we do. But, you know, it's definitely hard.
That was definitely a learned skill, though.
yeah,
for
I
sure.
think you guys being on your own as well, not having much advice, and I think the only advice coming from the internet about
Yeah,
what do I
exactly.
do, how do I write an email, and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. Like
yeah.
we're in the very much the same boat about trying to figure out how the fuck do I become professional overnight.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
putting yourself into like just rough situations where you have to tough it out, like, and just go into a meeting and feel professional and dress up a bit nicer and just wing the whole thing really gets your experience a lot, like gets you more experience quicker. But
Yeah.
definitely, bro, we still have faced it a few times this year where
Yeah.
people have promised the world to us and just given us like, you know, not much.
$300 a month rate.
Yeah,
essentially.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you know, yeah, I think that's like, there's an old saying, like, people promise you the world and give you an atlas.
Right.
You
yeah.
heard that?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like that's the kind of, it's happened before, but it's very much slowed down because of
It's
the-
slowed down because we do YouTube now.
Yeah.
So it's more like
yeah.
if we want to make more money, we'll make more videos.
Yeah.
So it's not like we have to deal with clients.
Yeah,
But like, I do still do a little bit of freelance on the side to make money
Yeah.
because obviously we're still starting and we're still very early
Yeah.
in the YouTube scene. So like, when there will be a point where that can cross and we can solely rely on YouTube. But
yeah,
Yeah.
but right now, like, we get a little bit of kickback from like an ambassador port.
Yeah.
Through like some sign-ups and stuff, and
Yeah.
then YouTube, which isn't enough to live off at the moment, obviously. So
Yeah.
we still do like a freelance job every now and again, and because we both live at home as well, it's relatively easy
Yeah.
to sustain yourself
Yeah.
because it's just fuel.
Yeah.
And we have Earl Davis at the moment right now, so it's
Yeah.
fueling him and fueling the Rex, and
Yeah.
then food in our belly, and that's about all we need to
Yeah.
pay
good.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like working with clients though when they're really good clients because we do work with a sound company
Yeah.
and they're so good to work with.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a problem with working with clients. It's just when like
Is that because they appreciate your value?
Yeah.
Or
They
just,
treat us like they treat us
They-
like a family.
they're so nice.
We feel like a part of their
you
family.
know, they'll actually respect us because they understand the work that goes into the creative industry, whereas a lot of people don't, which is fair enough. Like, how are you meant to understand it if you've never done it before?
So
Yeah.
like, imagine putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Like, for example, if you want to buy a painting, none of us here, I don't know, like, I don't really know you guys,
Haven't
back to
bought any
front.
paintings.
No.
No.
but like,
I can't
you
say
guys
I
aren't painters either. But
No.
if you're gonna walk in, obviously there's still a massive creative process that goes behind a painting, and none of us here are painters.
Yeah.
And they would be quite pricey, and they
Exactly.
are. But like, why?
For a
Why?
reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
They're priced for a reason because there's time that's spent into
Yeah.
that, and you're paying
Yeah.
for the time and the artists and the brand
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
definitely.
crazy. What do you guys think you'd be doing if you weren't doing this right now? Because I know you're into cars, but like,
Are you talking about like this podcast?
yeah, like right at this
I
current
would
moment.
be-
No,
I'd
I've
but-
be-
been
a
drinking
vlog.
better coffee for fuck's
Yeah.
sake.
no, but like,
What do you mean? Blend 43 is the best.
You haven't even
dude.
tried it yet.
Mate, I've had about 5 sips and I've
What do you reckon?
loved every single one of them.
Are you turning back? Or?
Yeah, it's a good thing we're next to the bathroom because if you need a quick munt, it's just like,
How
it's
munt?
meters away.
I don't think I've ever had coffee this shit. But anyway, what was the
Yeah.
question?
So yeah, what would you guys be doing if you
I
weren't?
thought this would be a good segue to tell you we're actually sponsored by Blend 43.
Yeah. if you
Thanks to this video sponsor, Blend 43.
if you
If you
weren't
want a power munt really quickly before you go, have
Have a bit of Blend 43.
because honestly,
That's
Yeah.
my first sip.
obviously the four of us not
I thought
very.
you were trying to be serious. You're like,
Yeah.
guys.
I'm trying to keep you guys on track.
He's going to make sure we don't get sued.
What would I
Yeah.
be doing? As in, if I wasn't doing YouTube or photography.
Photography, because I think you'd be doing
Far out, man.
like even if YouTube
Something.
didn't exist, I feel like you'd be doing photography or something
Well,
creative.
Well, so if I wasn't doing photography
Yeah.
and YouTube, I would be doing something else creative.
Yeah,
Something like,
yeah.
because being creative is fun. You just get to do weird shit that looks cool to people. And
Yeah.
that's how you can make money. It's fun as.
I honestly couldn't even. I'd say it'd be something to do with cars, but I actually can't even say. Like, I'd say as well something creative, but I found photography very, very early on with skateboarding.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
sort of
um,
ingrained into
Yeah, it's like I
Yeah.
can't actually imagine because when I was 11, 12 years old was when I sort of started picking it up.
Yeah.
So from then on, always using a camera has just been part of me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to figure out like if I kept skating and wasn't using cameras and then went through school and didn't find photography fun and then do it as a hobby, what like I can't even imagine what
Yeah, like,
else would
I
have
really
happened.
don't know. Like,
Yeah, obviously. We don't
obviously
know.
we don't know, but like,
I would say it's something
Yeah.
to do with cars,
Yeah.
whether I'm working at a dealership like I was for a bit, or
Yeah.
I like selling.
Yeah.
I like buying and selling, flipping stuff. I'd probably
Yeah.
get into that. I'd say I've
That's
always been
Which
interested
works
with.
perfectly with cars,
Yeah.
especially with that BMW that you just turned
yeah,
up to.
Earl Davis.
Yeah, you
that
want to
new
explain
BMW.
maybe explain a bit about Earl Davis.
For one
What's
of
going
Mike's,
on?
pretty much one of Mike's videos is we're gonna get a car, or maybe you can explain. It's your video.
Okay, but it's a kind of a joint thing
Yeah,
because
it's a
obviously
joint.
everything while we're on this podcast is that Liam and I've always done stuff together. I
Yeah.
don't know why it's been like that. It's like every morning I just sort of wake up and call him or he calls
Yeah.
me. It's
Yeah.
just like, well, let's
Yeah.
just hang out together. Why
Yeah.
not? And so as a fact of that, we've obviously built a business together, which means we share like the funds together to
Yeah.
buy certain props and stuff for videos and
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah, one
this-
of them happening to be a
one-
car.
Yeah, happening
Yeah,
to be a
yeah.
car, which is technically a prop.
Yeah.
And it
for-
took
for a
us
video.
Yeah,
Took
yeah.
us about 2 days to decide. We're like, yeah, no, let's just buy this car. Like,
And because
it'll be a good video.
everything that we do now is good content.
Yeah.
That's what, like anything. that we-
Everything.
Literally, I mean, like, something bad could have happened to that car. Like, it could have broke down around the corner after paying for it, and it just would have
Yeah.
been fucking hilarious, like
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
But okay, essentially for the video, what I want to do or what I want to achieve is I want to buy a shit car, and because we photograph like a lot of high end cars, and I've come from a place of only photographing high end cars. Not everyone has access to that. But people want to get into car photography.
Yeah.
So I started out shooting my mum's BMW 1 Series, which we still have.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And that was
Yeah.
when I wanted to I was like, Mum, can I like take some photos of your cars? I think I might want to get into car photography. And then she would on my L plates, we used to like take it out to car parks and stuff, and she used to have to like sit there and let me take photos of her car and stuff like that, which is like probably really painful for her, but I'm glad that she did it and stuck
Yeah.
it out. But for kids like starting with car photography and not having access to cool cars,
You don't need. It's pretty much the message we want to say is you don't need a supercar to
Yeah.
take or to make photos of cars look good. You can
Yeah.
do
No.
it with any car.
yeah, and it's literally
Yeah.
just to practice. Like we would want to find some old ads of the BMW E46 of
Yeah.
Earl Davis,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and find some
There are
original
some good
1946
46 ads.
Yeah,
Earl
find
Davis is the name of the car, by the way.
Oh yeah, if we haven't established that already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably pretty confusing. Why is it called Earl Davis?
Okay, so when we picked up the car, we wanted to pick a name for it, and then we wanted each one of us to have input in it. So Hayden, Liam,
So you
myself.
hyphened it.
No, well, what happened was is that we each wanted to have a name, and then we were going to put it on our Instagram stories and be like, which name do you like the best? And
Right.
the audience could vote, and then
Yeah.
whichever one had the most votes would be the name of it. But as we were driving, Lamont was like, what do you want your name to be? And Lamont was like, oh, I really like Earl. I think this is an Earl car. And I was like, I really like Davis. I think this is a Davis car. And then so while we were talking about it to camera, so we were just calling it Earl / Davis, whatever
Yeah.
your name's gonna be.
Yeah.
And we're like Earl/Davis, Earl Davis, Earl Davis. That's the name of the car. It's Earl Davis now.
I wasn't in the car.
He was driving my other car.
Would you have made it something else?
That's the thing. At first, I was like, all right, well, I didn't really get a say in this, but whatever. I'm going to go with Earl Davis. Like, it sounds good. It suits the car. It
It
does suit the
sort
car.
of sounds like a 1960s like jazz musician or
Yeah.
something.
I think it
Yeah.
sounds like a
Earl
drink,
Davis.
like a whiskey or a
Yeah.
scotch.
presenting Earl Davis. But so I didn't have any sort of say in the car. So I was like,
Yeah.
I want to have a say in the name. So what his actual name is, it starts so the Earl has a lowercase e, but the D in the Davis is capital.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
so
Earl-
that's your input.
Yeah, that's
It's
my
just confusing everything
Lowercase
else.
E, Earl hyphen capital D Davis.
That's just the seventh year, like magic touch.
Mate, it's called just Liam fucks everything up. Welcome to my life.
Yeah, Liam fucks everything and just forget the like, comma up.
Oh no.
I think.
That's what he copied.
Look at my blend 43.
Do you guys think that whole mindset, that whole idea of like, look, you don't need like a Lamborghini to take a good photo of a car, like, because you guys get, you know, I'm sure literally thousands of messages of like, what camera do you use, what
Yeah,
lens do you
yeah.
use, and my question is like, how much do you think the camera itself doesn't matter? And I know, like, you know, the camera itself doesn't actually matter, but I'm more talking on the aspects of like image editing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of your guys' work is really like, I'd say like 70%, you know, done in Lightroom and
Yeah,
Photoshop.
100%.
definitely.
And
Yeah.
the real magic is where the image manipulation comes into it.
We made a really good point the other day. Like,
Yeah.
we were talking about it in the car. It's
Yeah,
like,
I was about to suggest
Yeah.
this as well. Yeah,
it's like, so in terms of like which camera matters, it's
Yeah.
like driving a car.
Yeah.
If you can drive like a really shit car well, like, and you're really good at like driving it around a track,
Yeah.
that means you're going to drive a really good car even better. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to be a good driver. Same
Yeah.
with the camera.
I think
Yeah.
anyone can use a good camera if you learn how to read the manual or whatever and
Yeah.
pick it up or whatever. But if you learn how to use a beginner camera, an intermediate camera really well,
Yeah.
and we've got a perfect example of someone who can do it. For a long time, one of our mates, Daniel Wanners on Instagram,
Yeah.
he was using a Canon 70D. It was a crop sensor.
Yeah.
And I thought this guy was like a full-on professional. And then when I finally shot with him after years of following his account, he was like, "No, I've just got a Canon 70D with
Yeah.
just a normal 18 to 35 Sigma on it."
Yeah.
And
That's
he just
incredible.
takes banger photos on it, like amazing photos. And now he has upgraded to an
Yeah.
A7 Mark III, but you could start telling a difference in like the quality of the work, but his photos have always been amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's maintain that style. And
Yeah.
he went from just being really good on that sort of beginner camera, and then once he upgraded, it's more of a smooth transition. Like, it's not like you're learning how to use
Yeah.
the full frame camera. It's
Yeah,
like, done.
yeah.
This is awesome. I know how to use everything now.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
couple of things I want to say as well
Yeah.
is that photography consists a lot of the lighting of
Yeah.
the situation and the composition that you're using.
Yeah.
Right, as you guys would know for video as
Yeah,
well. So
yeah.
like, it helps a fuckload if you have
Definitely, yeah.
good lighting and you have a good
Yeah.
composition of what you're shooting.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, like we have a good example as well. Like, for example, we were shooting the majority of our YouTube videos on the Sony NEX VG20, shout out, which is just like a little Sony Handycam. And then when Walt and I bought our GH4s, like
Yeah.
our 4K Panasonic, so
Yeah.
excited GH4s, like the images just look so much worse than our Sony.
Yeah.
So we literally started shooting videos on our Sony again.
Yeah.
And the reason was because we just didn't know how to use the camera, but it was proof that we had like mastered ourselves so well
Yeah.
in this like, you know,
Yeah,
actual
one specific
Yeah.
circumstance. But I think you're not giving yourself enough credit because Kieran's been making videos since he was well young. And what did you start making videos with? I love
same
this
as Mike.
progression.
Same as Mike. What was your first camera?
Flip camera.
Flip camera.
Really?
It's over there.
The
Yeah.
flip camera. You
Yeah.
still got yours.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
over
find
there.
mine.
Oh yeah, no, it's over there. And I was actually,
what color is it?
It's black. I was
Oh, I've
listening
got a
to
silver
the
one.
previous podcast you guys were on,
Yeah.
and you were talking about like, oh, what happened to Flip? So there's actually a really interesting story about Flip. They got bought out by another company that was going to rebrand them, but then the rebranding never happened, so the whole project got shelved, and Flip never saw the light of day again. But I feel like Flip camera had the real. I feel like they had the real opportunity to be massive because they got bought. I don't know, you know, maybe Campbell can whip this one up. I don't know, but they got bought by this company that was gonna like take them to the next level, and then it never happened because you remember how popular they were.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
And then
yeah.
they just
Everyone
boom,
had one. You
disappeared.
had to have a
Is it
flip
a-
camera,
Yeah, but is it
Camera
too late
or
to
a
go on?
phone?
Who knows?
They
yeah.
have been gone, and now as Liam just brought up phones. Phones are too
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first videos that I put together were all shot on my phone, a 4S, an iPhone 4S.
There you go. Yeah, we actually
4S.
even
Yeah, I know,
technically
dude. Love
at
it.
the same
Still
time that I
have it.
had the
When the
flip.
S came out, you're like,
We we had an iPod 3, a 3G Le Mans iPod.
3G.
It was our first like touchscreen device.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my
How
god.
good was that when touchscreen came out? I was like,
Oh,
"Fuck,
that was
this is
crazy.
awesome."
Oh, it was just like
what?
revolutionized everything. Like it was crazy.
Revolutionized.
Revenant.
The Revenant.
Yeah, it was so weird. Now
Don't
it's,
bully me.
yeah, that's not going to be peaking at all.
What was your first camera, Liam?
Far out. My mum's iPhone 5,
Yeah, beautiful.
slightly upgraded from the 4S.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But
wow.
yeah, and I
Really?
remember doing
Big baller.
panorama shots
Yeah.
and using the iPhone filters
Okay.
to
Yeah.
edit. I was
Yeah.
like, this is awesome.
It's practically
Yeah.
like the Instagram filters as
Well,
well.
yeah, it's similar, but I remember doing like a sunset panorama. It was like a silhouette of some trees,
Yeah.
and it had like a dope sunset in the background. And I was like, these filters are awesome. Like the sunset looks better when I put a filter on it. I'm like, what is this? Like that was my first experience
I
of
think
like filters.
Camera's really interesting as well because we got a lot of questions, like you said, about which camera's good and what do
Yeah.
you think of this camera. And
Yeah.
Liam and I don't know, like, I haven't really used that many cameras to be honest. I've
Yeah.
got like 4 or 5 cameras that I've used.
Yeah.
2
Yeah.
which were Nikon.
Yeah.
One was Sony.
How do you
and-
feel about that?
Well,
That's a
Nikon.
whole nother.
It's they
Yeah,
actually.
we know you also talked about the Nikon
Oh,
gag
okay,
as well.
well, anyway, long
No,
story
no,
short,
it's
they're
alright,
great
it's alright.
photography cameras, but the video is questionable. as
Yeah,
we all know.
yeah, yeah.
But anyway, I've got nothing actually against them. I've kind of died down it a bit because I don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna,
Defamation.
yeah,
Fair enough.
eventually I think I'm going to settle down. And
You
maybe-
could single-handedly like just pull that company from the mountaintop, like literally.
I think
Nikon
their
just
sales have
crumbles.
gone down because of some of the stuff. that we've
I'd
done.
honestly put my money on their sales actually going down like in Australia because
it's
of
good.
these
It's
guys.
good content.
I reckon Sony has gone up just a little bit.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
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 But anyway, yeah, like we haven't really used that many cameras,
Yeah.
and like I don't know if it's because we've just had like really good choices with our cameras, and we've just
Yeah.
sort of gone with it. But I'm just as long as the camera can take like a relatively
Yeah,
good,
how many
decent-
cameras do you need though? Like
Yeah.
you go from crop sensor to maybe slightly better than full frame. Like what?
Yeah,
What
but
el- what are you
as
gonna
long
buy,
as,
like-
I look for a camera like it just like needs to have good dynamic range. That's about it. That's what I look for. to
I
be
also
honest.
think
Dynamic.
like
Dynamic.
an important
Range.
factor to it is also the fact that cameras are expensive.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest thing to just pick up if you're not making money from it.
Yeah.
Mate, you
It's
could
really
buy a
not.
full Canon 80D setup for the price of Earl Davis.
Earl Davis, which is
$1,200. Like,
Yeah.
I'm serious.
See,
Like,
Nick.
yeah, Nick's left.
Yeah, Nick.
The door creak. Wait for it.
There you go.
Nice.
All right. I feel like we need a little. Okay.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
the reason you guys, like you're not really focused on the cameras at the end of the
No.
day. You're taking awesome images, and like some
Yeah.
of your photos from like
Thank you.
Actually, no, I don't want to say that because then it's like you haven't progressed. But like some of your photos on your old Nikon compared
Yeah.
to like the brand new Sony,
No, I
people
think
won't tell the
this
difference.
is a good point as
not
well.
Like, it's not like night and day. It's not
Yeah.
like your life changes.
Yeah.
It's just like good in low light and like
Yeah.
dope
It's just-
dynamic
it's
And,
just
range.
and
like-
the video as well is amazing. That's
Yeah.
a really good feature.
Yeah.
Autofocusing. Like the camera's just built well. It's a
Yeah.
very
yeah, it's,
well-built
it's
camera.
way better, obviously, but like
Yeah.
it's not going to make you a better photographer.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No way.
I think the biggest differences in your old photos versus new is just your editing style.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
how clean that you can edit those photos.
Well, I
now.
think it's actually more or less understanding
Yeah.
what you're actually trying to do with an image when you
Yeah.
bring it up into editing. Because
Like,
when I started
bringing
for
that
years, I was like, what am I actually trying to achieve with this image? Like, am I
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
make, like, what kind of look am I going for rather with this image? And like trying to have an understanding of how everything works in Lightroom. And you sort of like, when I take a photo now, I can visualize how I want to edit it. And same with our YouTube videos now. When I shoot a video, I can visualize where I want to put certain things in the video. So it's like just an understanding over time.
Yeah.
You gradually sort of build those steps into you. But I wanted to talk about another point that
Yeah.
popped into my mind was that some photos you just can't recreate, no matter how long ago you took them. Like I know, like I can think of heaps of photos that you've taken.
Yeah,
That,
New York 2017. Like, there's
it's
it's
just,
just
so
the
many
actual like,
photos,
moments.
and they were on the
Yeah.
Nikon as well. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what camera you
like
use.
some
It was like,
photos, just
Yeah.
cannot be
Cannot,
recreated
yeah.
because they're just like good in that moment, and
Like-
they're all good because they all tell a story,
Yeah.
which is
Exactly.
interesting. Yeah,
And that's why I love YouTube, because now you can tell a story.
Yeah,
Like that's the main thing. Because like before that, we would just take photos, do photo shoots, travel, and then just post them to Instagram without really talking to the camera about them or anything.
Yeah.
So like now we can tell you the story about this photo and show you like the process of it, which is awesome.
Which is sweet. And I actually couldn't imagine doing it any other way as well. Like I couldn't believe that we weren't doing that. Like it's so awesome.
It's like, why weren't we telling the story?
It's just like great. Like I guess like our main goal with YouTube as well is to help like inspire kids to get out there and use a camera. It's like it's really fun to take photos and things like that and just show people and teach people how to sort of use cameras and stuff like that. And it also gives us a job to do as well, which is awesome. So it's like a win-win for both scenarios or both people, I guess. But that's why like YouTube like creates like a real cool perspective, and it also like it's like a community building as well that happens, which is awesome.
I think that's awesome. I think the move from Instagram to YouTube for you guys was so like it was going to happen anyway, and like when it did happen, you can see like how well it's going now, just because like all your photos are so good. There's a story and there's a person behind all those photos, and it only makes it like 20 times better when you actually get like a whole video. Like,
and I think it targets
content,
a lot of people as well, because it's like the story, people following you, people wanting to see how the photos are taken, and I think the videos really sum up how you actually go about taking these photos, which is great for people that are aspiring to, you know, try and get it out there and do their own thing as well.
Definitely.
Like people who say like, because we get obviously a lot of DMs about like, how do I grow on Instagram? Like, it's pretty hard to grow on Instagram now if that's all you're doing. Like, it's just so saturated. So like, I would recommend people to like start a YouTube channel because it's so much fun. Like, if you're young, you've got the time, you know. You don't have a family, you don't have a full-time job. Like, even if you do, like Mike and I started when we had full-time jobs, we started YouTube. Like, YouTube is such a good way to grow, like, on Instagram and grow a community and just meet new people, like, as opposed to Instagram.
At the same time, saying that, when we were at VidCon in America, we met like a vast variety of different people and different YouTubers and stuff. And we also got to see people that were fans and also starting YouTube channels and stuff like that. And so we got to talk to obviously a bunch of different people about YouTube. But what we found is sometimes people were going into YouTube thinking that it's going to be like their main source of income, which is going into YouTube for the wrong reasons, if that makes sense. Which is the wrong reasons to go into anything, is specifically for the money. I mean, you look at someone like, just the way that our whole society is structured, especially here in Australia, like you go to school, you get sold university, everything outside of university is a black hole, right? Because nobody knows what you can do. Then you have to go after university, go get a job, go work for somebody, get a mortgage, have kids, and then die. It's just like
Walt and I actually have like tangible evidence of what you just said as well, which I reckon we'll just say like so when we were making videos, like just to make videos back in the day, for the fun of it, because we wanted to. You know, we got a video with 8 million views. But then Walt and I went through this very sort of brief period in like, 2014 or something, when we were like, all right, look at our channel, look how many views we're getting. Let's just make a real life video game movie every week. Well, come on, let's do it. Let's make some money. And that was literally the worst mindset to have. And what happened?
Well, we made no money first.
There you go.
And secondly, I feel like we made those videos a lot because we enjoyed it, but I feel like it definitely took out some of the fun out of it, you know?
100%.
And this is before I'm even like starting to get into corporate video, but it's the same mindset because you're making video to try and get revenue. You know, you're trying to take like that whole process of the passion out of it, because you're like, okay, let's stop doing the parts of the real life videos that we like doing to do something else that might get us more clicks. And I think the best example of this, which is just absolutely so embarrassing to admit, is when we did a real life Far Cry video one week, and that was like pretty fun, you know, it was a sellout because Far Cry just came out, but we were like, this is sick, this is good fun. It was just Kieran and I running around in a park with fake guns.
Classic.
And then literally the next week, we released Angry Birds in real life.
So this was our plan. We were like, we were just dumb in year 11. We had no money for food. Like all of our money went to Domino's because every dollar that we earned through YouTube, I didn't even have a bank account, so all my money came into PayPal, and literally the only thing we could buy was Domino's. So like we got to
pizza.
figure out a way to get more money for more Domino's, and that was by making just the worst real life video game movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, as Walt was saying, like that took the passion out of it briefly for us. But then when we, earlier and when we came back and just making like whatever we wanted, that's where like, potentially building not a career or maybe a career, potentially
100%.
building something
Of
on
course a
YouTube.
career, yeah.
It comes
Passion
naturally.
sparks,
Yeah.
And I think that is, as you're saying, the mindset that a lot of people, a lot of your guys' audience watching, a lot of, Hayden's audience, people like that, is sometimes, they really are trying to get the numbers or the views.
Yeah.
That's just one
And
quick question that I had.
Yeah.
This is for people that, I know your views on like growing Instagram accounts just for the sake of having a big Instagram account.
Yeah.
But if someone was starting from scratch and they wanted to grow their Instagram account, is it enough just to focus solely on getting the best content you can, or do you have to implement other tactics to really?
No, there is literally, like, when you're starting out, no matter what it is that you do, it's just going to be a grind.
Yeah.
And like a really good example of this, and like who I've been following quite avidly at the moment, is Tom Noski.
Yeah.
And he's just
and
pumping
he'll
out
be on the
videos.
podcast in a couple
Yeah.
of
It's
weeks.
great, and I really support what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I watch every single one of his videos when it comes out. I think they're awesome, and like his cinematic and just everything that he does is great. And he's very underrated, but his quality of his videos are amazing.
He's
Yeah.
fantastic,
Right?
and he's completely right. He was talking to us about how there's a market for well-produced, great-sounding, beautiful-looking
100%.
shots,
Yeah.
Dude,
and nothing has to be like just
There's a niche for everyone,
Yeah.
is what I learned.
Yeah.
With actually, you know where I learned that? Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
where I learned that there's a niche for everything.
because you're saying like
Because
Speed Racer
I-
DVDs pop up for $100, and you're like, man,
No,
is
honestly,
sick.
like eBay, like
Dude.
Amazon, Gumtree,
Nah, mate.
Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace, dude. I've like everything I've listed on there. I've sold. Like I sold
I reckon I've made $5,000 out of Facebook Marketplace. To
my
be honest.
PS4, bro.
It's
Like,
incredible.
obviously, a PS4 is like a sought after item. Like everyone wants a PS4.
Yeah.
It's not like some random niche thing. But
Yeah.
I put it on there. I put the price down $20 cheaper. I was happy to lose $20. Sold it within 4 hours, cash in hand.
Cash in hand. That's
Mate,
what I
yeah.
like to see.
Yeah.
High vis on as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And straight from a job.
Yeah.
Straight from a cash.
No,
Yeah.
literally, like it's a great place.
I
but,
had a iPhone charger
Yeah.
or whatever, like a iPhone Apple case.
Okay,
And I put
yeah,
it
yeah.
I put it online, and literally within 2 hours
yeah.
of me putting it online, it was sold. And we were just getting a coffee somewhere. I'm like, I'm getting a coffee here in 2 hours. You want to come meet me? He's like, yep, done. And he
Yeah.
was just like,
bought it for like $50.
yeah, and he's just there. And I was
That's
like,
insane.
amazing.
Paid for our coffees for like the next couple of weeks. Man.
Literally. So yeah, that's where I learned like there's a niche for everybody,
Yeah.
and everyone. There's just like there's
There
options for
is.
everyone. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like going back to if you are just starting an Instagram account and how you would grow,
Yeah.
and if you should be doing things differently, I think the main thing you should be doing, obviously, just have fun with it, because
Yeah.
otherwise you're just going to get bored. But make sure you're interacting with people and you're putting yourself out there. Like,
Yeah.
really important thing to do is to talk to your followers. Like, don't be afraid. Get up on the stories. Like, explain your photos, because it's not enough. I personally don't think it's enough to just post photos anymore.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
do more than
Yeah,
that.
and Tom Noski is a perfect example.
Exactly.
Like last night, his story was like 2 months ago. I was nervous writing an Instagram caption, and now I'm recording like a 12-minute camera vlog.
Yeah, I told
like-
him, I'm like, dude, you
Yeah.
need to jump on it. Like,
Yeah.
it feels weird. I remember when I started doing it as well. It just
Yeah.
felt so weird, like to get in front of the camera.
It's like, what do
yeah,
you
that's
do?
what it felt like. You felt like,
You
oh,
felt
yeah,
like
yeah,
going
yeah.
from left to
Hey
right.
guys.
yeah.
Well, you
literally.
feel like you have to speak on camera when
Yeah.
in reality you should. I like the mentality I have is just talk and just raise your camera up, and that's what the story is.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going like this. hey guy, like that's
Yeah.
just fake.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously I do it sometimes. Like I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's a weird thing. It's not natural to talk to a camera.
Yeah.
No.
But over time, you just
It
get
can
more
be.
natural at it.
What I think about when I talk to camera is I try and pretend that I'm thinking of one specific person that I'm trying to reach.
Yeah.
That really helps
Yeah.
me get me in the zone. So instead of when I'm talking to a camera or whatever, I don't think that I'm talking to an audience. I like to think that I'm talking to one person and say you instead of hey guys,
Yeah.
or hey, what's going on? I'll see you in the next one. It sort of helps me put myself in a position where I can talk to the camera and feel more comfortable. Like I'm imagining like a head there.
Yeah.
And it also gets a bit more intimate with the audience as well because I don't feel like they're just part of a group. They feel like they're
Yeah.
sort of more of an individual scene
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
group, which is like what we try and do. We try and like obviously try and respond to everybody and give as much value back as we can so everyone can get something out of it watching our videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever look back on the videos you upload and like are you able to watch
Yeah.
your own videos?
No.
We did it. We did it like the other day. We do it every like couple of months when we're just
Yeah.
uploading, and then we'll casually scroll through whilst the video's uploading. But like,
Yeah.
I saw one, and it's just like, it's actually cool to see the progression because it
Yeah.
was only like maybe 10 months ago, but I was just starting the video. I was like, hey guys, today we're going to be doing a video. It's like, that's just not how I speak.
Yeah.
Like,
The
you know?
time the vlog you came into our old office in Abbotsford.
oh,
I
far
rewatched
out.
that
Can
like
we
2
rewatch
weeks
that,
ago.
like,
yeah,
later?
I definitely, but it's honestly incredible because then I feel like Liam was like, when you were even talking to us, it was like, all right, let's go. Hey guys,
Yeah.
but now it's so much more natural, and you really have
Exactly.
like progressed, like not only as like a YouTube creator, but like as a person in general, because
Thanks,
you're
bro.
able to just do it normally, and it's just
Yeah.
you, it's just Liam.
I do remember that now.
But
'cause
how funny was
I went,
that? Yeah.
Because we were, to give a bit of context, this is when I came and met you in your new office.
Yeah, Yep.
And I did a vlog about it.
I wouldn't even call it an office.
Yeah.
No, it was like a space. But anyway, we were in there, and I
Space
was
is pretty generous too.
we were doing.
What the fuck
Alright.
was it there?
All right, it was a dingy little shithole. Is that better? Are you happy now? I'm honest. But yeah, and we're doing a vlog, and I sort of like I wanted to introduce you guys, and
Yeah.
I didn't just start recording. We sort of stopped, and we're like, all right, you guys ready? Like I'm gonna do this part for the vlog.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like, hey guys, we're at the it's like
Yeah.
once again
Yeah, but
going back
now-
to that whole
yeah,
thing. It's just
yeah.
like
not
that's
who you
it's
are.
actually harder to do that as well. Like
yeah. Yeah.
even if you point being, it's just hard to speak on camera.
Yeah,
It's
I
gonna
was gonna
take
say,
you
like-
time to get used to it.
Yeah, that kind of like mindset is almost as if you're addressing a keynote speech
Yeah.
in front of, like,
Yeah.
it feels like you're on top of a TEDx
Yeah.
stage.
Apple,
'cause-
Apple keynotes. Like today, we are at the Dynamic Visuals office.
Yeah.
it actually is.
I hate that shit. And that was like one of the main things that wanted me to start a YouTube channel as well. Or like
Yeah.
I'd always, when I was starting photography and I wanted to get into tutorials, and I was watching tutorials and they were so boring. And I was like, if I ever made a tutorial, I'd make it funny at least, like crack a joke, at least,
Yeah.
or something. For fuck's sake, I don't want to sit here and have to skip.
Hey
like,
guys,
thank God
welcome
there's
to
a
Sony Vegas tutorial.
Literally, thank God there's double
Unregistered
playback speed
hypercam
now.
too.
Yeah.
When YouTubers tell you for 5 minutes what they're gonna say in the video, it's like
Yeah.
Just for
today we're
6
going
minutes.
to be doing. It's like just tell me what we're gonna be
Like
doing.
I've already clicked on the video. I know I've typed
Yeah.
it in. That's why I'm here. Like you don't have to tell me, re-explain
Yeah.
what the title of the video is. That's why I'm here. That's why there's no point trying
Yeah,
to.
it's like Blender. Is Blender Guru?
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I'm
Dude,
watching it
How
right now.
good is his videos?
Dude.
And he just wipes out that whole like
Yeah.
annoyance of YouTube
I think he
tutorials.
even. That's like where I'm thinking about this example from. I think he
Yeah.
actually mentioned it.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah,
there
he
you
said
go.
like, I don't know why YouTubers do this.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was a comment. Anyway, what were you saying?
I can't remember just fuck boring people and
Yeah.
tutorials.
No, when you were
yeah.
doing
Get
your
funny.
tutorials, like you want to be funny. And stuff.
just roast them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was like one of the things that I wanted to start on YouTube, and I still really do enjoy making tutorials. I
Yeah.
love making
Yeah.
tutorials. I think
Yeah.
they're funny to do, and it just because it's like a thing that's taken really seriously because it's like a professional program and people
Yeah.
are trying to learn it.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
why
you just fuck around and you go, I'm just going to move this slider here. And if it's fucked and the edit's fucked by the end of it, then whatever, it's good content. Like, yeah. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
I reckon something interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, you guys are in a very new wave space.
Yeah.
And you very much know what's going on about, you know, potentially the next, 5 or so years in online media. Who knows what's Instagram's going to happen? You know, they're doing a bunch of interesting features like removing the likes, but
Yeah.
TikTok for example.
Oh yeah.
You know,
TikTok.
what do you reckon? Because think about it, Instagram only, properly came out in 2012,
Yeah.
which is pretty insane to think about. And
Yeah.
YouTube only came out in 2005. TikTok, there's like 12, 13-year-old creators on TikTok with 30 million followers.
Yeah.
And what's really
Insane.
interesting, as we know, you guys and Lamont and Tom and Hayden all started sort of TikTok accounts as a joke.
Yeah.
But then now, like, what's happening?
So, we literally started it as a meme because, like, the whole mentality behind TikTok.
Yeah.
It's like
Exactly
people
right.
doing cringe dance and whatever.
Yeah.
But like,
I almost wanted to make a TikTok
TikTok?
account that I actually did those cringe dances.
well, that's the thing, dude. I was speaking about it with Mike
Yeah.
a while ago. Like, the little sort of things that you do, like whether it's a cringe thing
Yeah.
or whether it's a saying you have in your video, like
Yeah.
you've got this one catchphrase or something you do. The little things, people, even if it's cringe or it's labeled as cringe, people secretly love it. Because
Yeah.
I secretly love watching all those cringe
Yeah.
videos, and I'll sit there
Yeah.
for an hour on TikTok
And
watching.
you go, that's fucking cringe.
Yeah, like you
love
say
it.
it's cringe, but you love it.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
it's good, and that's clear. It's clearly working. But the way I see us, or like us doing TikTok is like showing the process of our photos, but really short, not
Yeah.
doing a whole video.
Like
just
Blender
showing.
Guru, like short and sweet.
Well, literally
Yeah.
just like 15 seconds, like a shot, a side angle shot of what we're doing, and then like bang the photo. Just another place for us to put content as well. So like, why not? But I don't know.
I think TikTok's just got a bad rap because it's only really showing one kind of demographic at the moment. But
Yeah.
like the reality is, it's still just a platform to share short videos.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think it also negatively impacts a lot of people as well because the attention span yet again has become even shorter.
So short.
Do you know what I mean?
Next,
Yeah.
it's gonna be like a one frame.
what?
And
Yeah.
it's, like, it's gonna be like, oh yeah, that was
And then it's
boring.
gonna go down to the next one like, what?
Yeah.
It's gonna be like a whole-
That
that would be funny. Imagine going through someone's feed and it automatically goes down. You say a sentence in your
It's
feed.
just going to increase epilepsy by like
Yeah, do you reckon,
500%.
like, the human brain will
Oh,
evolve just to the point where people are like digesting information so fast that it literally will be like
I don't
2
know-
seconds
I don't
is
know
too
if it-
long.
I don't know if it'll affect us that way.
I don't know. I think it. Like I'm gonna say yes. Like why not? Like videos have gone from like starting out as like movie length, coming down to 15 minutes, down to 5, and now we're at 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure we can get a little bit quicker. Like some of the best meme videos are just seconds long. You know,
some
they're
of my favorite
unexpected.
videos are 3
right.
seconds. It's fucking funny.
Yeah.
There's a one where this guy lobs a book across his classroom and hits the teacher in the head, and then
That's
just cuts out.
Yeah, it's like,
That right there. And
Yeah.
Quite finally,
That's comparable
quite
to like The
possibly.
Godfather. Like,
A masterpiece.
yeah, that's
but like,
the
what do you
new
remember?
Godfather.
The Godfather or the book? right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm pretty detailedly described what
book.
happened. The book getting
book?
lobbed.
And
Was
that
it?
was in 3
I
seconds.
believe it was a dark green book,
How
to be
many-
honest.
How many pages roughly?
It looked like a good 220 plus.
Yeah. There you go.
220 plus a far
With
out.
220 plus
That would've
with
hurt.
small text.
Wow,
There's a
small
lot
text.
of lot of text.
That's a
there.
lot of
Don't you hate
information
that?
to take in 3
Don't you hate
seconds.
that when you're like about to read a book, you open it up and the text is small? You're like, fuck.
Oh, I reckon this is a good question for all of us, since we're sort of,
God.
when was the last time you like wrote a paragraph of text?
Like
Wow.
freehand, like
freehand,
with a
yeah,
pen.
with a pen.
Far
Oh,
out. Dude,
um,
school.
Yeah, it's cool.
School, yeah. I only write dot points now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon. I
So we
reckon.
take
point
notes,
finding
but like,
Yeah, no, I think
Yeah.
the last time I ever had to write more than like 30 words
Yeah.
was when we're writing like letters to clients.
yeah,
That's it, you
Yeah.
know, just like a nice like end of year Christmas card or a thank you note or yeah, that's literally the only time.
Just
Yeah.
filling out a nomination statement on a fine.
yeah,
counts as a
that's,
paragraph.
yeah, yes, it does. Yeah, I was talking to an Uber driver like 4 days ago, and he's like, "I've been living in Melbourne for 16 years. He speaks great English, but he doesn't know how to read, and he like,
really?
sorry, he doesn't know how to write.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't need to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you
So it's
literally,
interesting to think about.
you literally
true.
don't.
Yeah.
No,
It's
and I
insane.
feel like our jobs, we express
Visually,
our
yeah.
thoughts, through videos. So
Yeah.
like, I like talking. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like sitting there and writing. Like, I love
Yeah.
expressing myself through words and photos and
Yeah.
visuals. So
I just had a funny thought when not thought.
a funny
thought.
thought.
Fort,
I think I have a
Yeah,
problem with
Fortnite.
stuttering. Yeah, you
Fortnite.
should see some of my offcuts of my videos. They're like,
I used to see mine. Mine's like, sometimes I can't even finish one word. I'm like, fuck.
You should see, like, I just keep going in my room. I just go like, okay, so and it's just like in a row. And I'm like,
I can imagine people walking past that window, just looking at that. You're just like, okay.
My mum even like sometimes when she's upstairs, she goes like, take a deep breath. I'm like, shut up, mum. You're making it worse. Yeah, you're making it worse.
Surely you
now I'm
upload.
self-conscious.
Yeah, just upload one of the full uncut
we
videos
should
one
do
time,
that.
just for like April Fools. Like,
South Borders.
You know what I even do as
South
well.
Boys.
You know what I
That should
even
be your
do?
second channel.
A bloopers channel. What happens though? Like when I fuck up like an entire thing, like I've just fucked it up for ages and haven't got across what I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about in editing. I'm gonna sit there and figure out which. So I
Which
literally
one?
say to my future self, like editing Mike, forget the past 30 seconds of what I've said. I'm gonna start again. I say that to myself in editing. I go, cheers. Like past Mike for telling me that, because now I know I'm just gonna cut all that out and then I don't have to worry about it, because I tell myself all this you can just destroy in editing later. It's funny as
That's the beauty of editing.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Movie
so
magic.
good.
I mean, like, it's kind of funny you bring that up. That's pretty like traditional filmmaking, just with slating and being like, okay, take 56
Yeah.
is the good one, and then
Yeah.
you don't have to look through
That's
the
my
past
follow-up
55.
question. Like, who's the cinematographer and production manager for your guys' vlogs?
So we got this guy called Earl, who's the cinematographer.
right.
Production manager
Who's
is
the
Davis.
production assistant?
The
Boom operator?
Davis,
hyphen,
I'd say.
his name's
Hair and,
Hyphen.
hair and
Yeah,
makeup?
right.
The only problem is that they
Catering.
don't have arms or legs.
And they're
right,
actually a vehicle that's parked outside that we bought for 1.2
right,
grand.
okay, right.
So
That's
apart from
interesting.
that, it's really good. But
Yeah.
they only really help get you around, but they don't actually
Yeah.
do any of
They
the
don't
work.
do their job. We should probably fire them.
But luckily we didn't pay that. We don't really. It's like a one fixed payment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Right.
meme's gone for
Yeah,
way too long.
did you afterpay that car?
Oh, dude, have you ever afterpaid?
I
anything?
haven't.
I tried to afterpay. I wanted to buy a steering wheel for my car because it was quite expensive.
I'm gonna
and then
afterpay your
afterpay.
guys' presets.
And we couldn't get it installed.
Really?
Oh, really?
It's actually
not-
quite hard to get
Is it?
accepted.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot, and then it doesn't. The plugin doesn't work on the Wix on our website.
Oh,
And
right,
fuck
oh.
trying to transfer the whole
Yeah.
website.
You know, it's an
to someone else.
Australian business.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's worth
fuck
like
the
$5
dogs.
billion.
Fucking.
I know. It's
Get-
like,
get
give
it
a
for
little,
Wix.
give a little our way.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, you got $5 billion. I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind.
Can I have one bill? Come on.
Yeah,
Even if you got robbed for 4.3 billion, you still have $700 million.
you do. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I can't imagine the amount of like transactions they are processing though daily. It'd be like trillions because they're worldwide. Crazy.
No, true. That's crazy. Fuck
Yeah.
that.
Shit. How long were you at Campbell?
Yeah, 51.
Oh, beautiful. Easy.
Honestly.
Only 6 hours left.
Oh yeah. 7-hour podcast, no eating and
Yeah.
black coffee.
No,
blend
no
43.
toilet breaks. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
was
to
actually
piss on the
thinking about
ground.
that. Do you think it's appropriate to just make another coffee?
Yeah.
Or is it just,
Dude, I
Yeah.
don't know why I
How-
keep
so how are you
drinking
enjoying
it. Well, that's
Oh,
it.
wait,
I don't know
actually,
why I
I'll fill
keep drinking it.
Yeah.
It's
Pass me
so
that
shit,
shit, mate.
but I keep drinking
Let's
it.
go.
Yeah,
Boys.
once again, we apologize. So, Walt and I sent our coffee machine in for a service the day before we
No,
started
not
our
an
podcast.
they picked it
about
up at
coffee.
9:30 and we started recording at about 12.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's a good thing to talk about. So, these guys, right, we got our coffee machine serviced and we were going to drive it to them, but it was going to take too long to drive it to them yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you think there's something fishy going on here? So they offered to drive like 40 minutes to pick it up from our office for free. It's like, what's going on here? Are we locking ourselves into anything? Because they did say that you wouldn't pay any money before they assess the machine and then they give you a quote.
Oh yeah.
But like,
I reckon they're just good customer
are they
service.
just good people, or is there
That's the
something
thing.
fishy going on here?
Well, where did you find these people?
Google,
Ooh.
Yeah, Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace.
actually-
no,
no,
Google.
fuck.
Google. Like it's a legitimate business. Like, because we find it so hard, especially being in business, like and working with like electricians, things like that.
Yeah.
You never know who's a good person
No.
or who's like trying to get a bit of
Who's
money.
out to get you?
That's why referrals are so good.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah, can't go wrong with word of
No.
mouth.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite car you've ever driven?
Or 993 Turbo.
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was working at the dealership, which is actually just around the corner. from
Yeah.
here. It's so funny. What a small world.
It is.
My old job place is across the road. That's so funny. But
Yeah.
basically, I never used to be a Porsche fan
Yeah.
because I drove like a 1980s Porsche SC. or CS. I can't even remember what it was. It was like, I thought it was a shit heap because I was like, I'm not really into Porsches and yada yada. And I tried to drive it and park it downstairs and it was manual and I stalled it 3 times in a row.
God.
And I was like, nah, it's fucking disgrace. I'm not driving. It's not the car's fault. It's my fault. I was just
Yeah.
an idiot. Didn't know how to drive manual that well.
Yeah.
And then one day a drive day was coming up. And I was gonna drive an Aston Martin GT on red P plates to where the drive day was happening, and then one of the salesmen jumps into that car. He goes, "No, I'm taking this. You can take that one." And it was like a British Racing Green Porsche 993 Turbo, which I didn't even know what that was. And the car is like incredibly rare,
Yeah.
incredibly powerful.
How much is that worth?
350.
Jesus.
And I had no idea what it was. So I wasn't.
And you're red P.
And I'm red P plate, and the car wasn't registered. It didn't have any plates on it, so I had to put a trade plate on it. So I'm red P plates, uninsured, 18 years old. Didn't really know how to drive manual. I did. I had a manual car, but I,
So you just had an automatic license.
no. I had I had,
Oh,
I
you
had
had a
a manual
manual
license.
license,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. It just wasn't like as good as
Fully
it could be.
confident.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And so, and the last Porsche that I drove was I stalled 3 times in a row, and I was traumatized by it. So I jump into this car, and I'm like, oh fuck, it's manual. I'm gonna fuck this up. And I should probably mention on the drive day we organised it for everybody to come down to Dutton's as well before
Right.
we drive to the spot, and then all have like a meeting there.
Right.
So there's about 250 people outside Dutton Garage, all lining up to see all the supercars sort of rock up, and then I'm driving out with red P plates on this green Porsche, which I didn't know how to drive. And I get it out there. The clutch was actually quite forgiving, thank God, compared to the other one,
Yeah.
because it was a 1996 car.
Yeah.
So it was actually really easy to get it into gear, and the clutch was like quite forgiving.
Yeah.
And when I drive it at the front, my boss gives me the fuel card, and he goes, "Go put some fuel in it before we go to the drive day, or go to the location, or whatever." I'm like, "Okay, cool, let's go." And then Le Mans in the car with me as well, and so we're driving down the back streets, and it's like Sunday morning. He's like, "Come on, fucking give it some." And I didn't
Send
know
it.
what this car was. I didn't know that it was a twin turbo flat 6 or whatever engine.
Yeah.
Right, and there was no turbo gauges or turbo badges on it. It was completely debadged. And I put into second gear, and I'm like, oh, it's fucking old shitty Porsche. It's not going to, surely it can't be that fast. And I put my foot down, and I hear these 2 turbos spool up. And like just this like, amount of power unleashes, pulls us back into the seat. I'm like, holy fuck, what is this thing? And I think on car sales as well, like the actual car goes 0 to 100 in like 4 seconds for a 1996. Like it was probably one of the fastest cars
That's insane.
to be produced, like of its era.
Red P plates.
On red. And we were like,
So
and I'm
good.
like instantly fell in love
Yeah.
with the car and,
Yeah.
and Porsches in general. And then after that, I'm like, I fucking need this car. So yeah, that's a dream of mine. It's still
That's
for sale.
incredible. And I
actually.
know we've asked this before as well, but
Yeah.
since you have, you've driven a lot of very expensive cars for your photography,
Yeah.
what's the closest you've ever been, or what's the most nerve-wracking, like, ever scratched it, ever bumped it, ever
I've-
nearly driven into something?
In my old Forester, I did back into a pole once, but
Yeah.
that was the only damage that I ever did to a car. But working at Dutton's, obviously parking a bunch of cars around all the time,
Yeah.
I did have some pretty close calls. One of which was I had to move this old shitty Holden for a video that we were making, and I put the clutch in and the handbrake didn't work. It was just sat in gear on a hill. So as soon as I engaged the clutch, it started rolling back. And I didn't even realize. I just freaked out. I didn't know what to do because there was no handbrake. Like
Yeah.
there's just no handbrake in the car. I don't know why and how or who even parked it on a hill because it was just left in gear, right? So it wouldn't roll back. And so I went to go start try and move it because it was in the way. And so I pushed my foot down on the clutch and it starts rolling back down the hill. So I was like, what the fuck's going on here? And then I slam on the brakes and Liam's like, oh, and I'm like, oh, I slam on the brakes. And I put it back into gear and it doesn't move. And I get out of the car. It is 1 millimeter away from the wall. Didn't touch, not touching, but literally,
I was like,
you couldn't even you thread your hair through it. But it didn't touch and no damage to the car.
There's a higher power when
But-
stuff like that happens.
I was like, oh
so
my
confused.
God,
I'm
I
like-
just can't deal with that shit, man. Like too close, especially when it's not
Yeah.
my car as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you leave it or did you try and hill start it and just drive away?
We managed to get it out of
We
its.
pushed it.
We
had to
pushed
just
it.
Push it.
There was like 5 or 6 of us. We pushed it up the hill a little bit, turned the wheel, pulled it back down, and
Yeah,
pushed it
yeah.
inside. So we did get it out of its
Sticky
Yeah,
situation.
a little kerfuffle there, but yeah, that was the closest call ever.
Yeah.
Yep,
Awful.
stupid
Jesus.
stuff. What about you guys? Do you guys have a dream? You guys aren't really into cars.
Yeah, oh, Walt
yeah,
definitely
Walt
is,
is.
yeah.
I'm into cars.
We'll explain the story of our Falcon, I reckon.
You guys had a Falcon?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ford
Jesus
Falcon.
Christ.
So yeah, we did
This
a
is
similar.
we,
oh,
we
yeah.
didn't even document any of this process really, which is the funniest thing. So this was a gag really just for Kieran and I.
Yeah.
We were bored at work one day and we're like, you know what? Let's just look for the cheapest car we can buy that has registration.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, yeah, no worries, no worries. Anyway, we go on to all the classic places, Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace, car sales.
Yep.
We find this absolutely beautiful Ford Falcon for $350.
Registered?
And yeah, with registration for like
It was
2
actually
months.
it was listed at $450.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Just go on
450.
lowball.
We
Yeah,
did.
we did. Well,
Took a quarter of the price off the car.
yeah, pretty much. We got there and the mirror was pretty much taken off. The transmission was absolutely busted.
It didn't lock.
It didn't
Just
lock.
straight up didn't lock.
Yeah, it had damage to the car. You know, there were so many things wrong with it, but you know, for $450, you can't really complain, especially with the registration.
drive?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
And then
kind of.
so yeah, we bought it off just such a sleazy guy who was like clearly just trying to get. He would have taken $50, I reckon, just
Oh,
trying
yeah,
to get it out of
100%.
his street.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, we had to use jumper cables to leave it
Oh
from the
my
place we bought it
God.
because it wouldn't even start.
Yeah, he was like, no, mate, it's just the battery.
Yeah, it's just the
just
battery,
start
mate."
driving, it'll charge up like a fucking
no,
charm.
mate, she's a beaut. I've been driving her for like 15 years.
Yeah,
you know.
honestly, I don't even know why she's flat. I was driving her yesterday.
Yeah,
It's like that
it
kind
had
of
like
thing.
cobwebs on the rims. It was
Oh,
such. Anyway,
yeah.
What happened 3 days later?
Well, anyway, I'll actually explain like the intermediate part. We drove it back to where we were working out of. They had a car park there where we left it overnight, and we're like, oh, it's pretty dark. We won't drive it tonight because we're not sure how this car really handles. Anyway, so we got there the next day.
God.
You know, jump in the car. We're like, all right, sick.
Oh, so it was there still?
Yeah,
Oh, was it
still there.
stolen?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, it's not stolen. That's
All
not the peak of the story. Anyway,
Still going,
turn
alright.
the key. Of course, it doesn't start. Don't know what we're thinking. We're like, okay, sick.
Yeah.
We'll come tomorrow. So anyway, I go home. I bring a car battery that I had at home. We put it in. Car starts. We're like, this is sick.
We're back
At this point, I'm just putting this on the record. I did check the fluids. I did check the fluids. I'll just leave that there. Anyway, we're super excited. We bought this car. We jump in the car and we just start going down towards Blackburn to see Nick, who was just working at his old workplace.
Yeah.
Anyway, he found it absolutely hilarious. We went down to like got some food. We bought, I think it was 15 car air fresheners and hung it from the thing. And
Spend the car's value in
Yeah.
car.
yeah,
fresheners,
we did.
probably.
We did. But like the car was so foul smelling after that you would get a headache if you
Yeah.
entered the car.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
There was
full
also
headache
this.
inducing.
Oh, by the way, just a little problem that I had. It was an automatic transmission, but you had to manually go through the gears anyway because it didn't build up enough pressure to change
Oh
gears.
my God.
Anyway, yeah, no, it's just an
The
absolute.
story
yeah.
hasn't peaked.
Yeah,
yet
it's
as
just
well, which is the
absolute
best part of it.
disaster. Anyway, so we're like, okay, that was fun. Let's go home. It's just coming up to 4:30. It's getting into peak hour, but it's not too busy yet. We're going
Yeah.
down the Eastern Freeway.
Why would you take it on the freeway?
That was
Well,
our
the-
first mistake.
that was
Actually,
the-
no, our first mistake was buying
Buying
it.
the
Second mistake, taking it on the freeway.
Anyway, the traffic had started building up, so we're behind a row of cars at the turn off onto Hoddle Street.
This
so
is
it's
peak
a
hour, by the way. Peak
4-lane turn
Oh,
off
yeah.
onto Hoddle. We're in the 3rd lane over. Light goes green, all the cars pull away. It's my turn to kind of go. I put my foot down on the accelerator. Nothing happens. I hear a beep. Kieran's like, dude, it's green. Go. I'm like, I know it's green. It's not going. Anyway, I start turning the key. Nothing's really happening. I'm like, okay, no, this is fine.
Then the
The
smoke
battery
starts.
has just disconnected because there's no battery holder. So anyway, jump out at the next light cycle because there's cars just, fanging past
Like
us at this point.
beeping it,
Yeah.
like pulling up, taking photos because Walt's like at the front, the engine's smoking. He's like not starting at all, and we're worried
It's
that
sick.
Yeah.
one of
I'm a
the
celebrity.
the side view mirror was just like gaffer tape. It just wasn't there, so we're worried like if a police car passes, we're gonna get hit with like an unroadworthy fine, as well as like the inevitable Vic Roads tow, which happened.
Yeah. so we
yeah.
sat in traffic for about 2.5, maybe 3 hours just in
What?
this broken car in peak
You didn't try
hour.
pushing it?
We couldn't.
we-
There was
it's like
so many cars just going
It's like
past
the
us.
exit of a freeway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
there was
shit.
no opportunity, even for like 30 seconds, of when you'd have a clear run. It was always cars passing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Anyway,
Yeah.
we got towed by Vic Roads like emergency assist, $250.
So the car's value in the
Yeah.
tow.
yeah, it
And then we-
skyrocketed after that.
Then
It-
we sold it for $50 for scrap metal, like
Yeah.
2 days later.
Not bad.
And that was the tale
Wow.
of the 1996 Ford Falcon wagon.
I
A
feel
wagon.
It
Oh,
was a wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I
nice.
feel good about Earl Davis now.
Yeah,
no,
so
you're-
that's
you're
why
already doing
Earl
well.
Davis is honestly like an incredible.
To be fair, we got like 40 minutes of driving out
Yeah.
of our car, which means you might, break down in the Eastern Freeway as
Actually,
well.
we've done 200Ks on our car so far.
Oh, wow.
And it's fine.
That's insane.
I've changed the oil on it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've fully committed. We've named it, so we're attached to it now.
Yeah. He dies, we die. We quit YouTube.
There you go.
More likely if he dies, it's because you're wrapped around a tree.
But nah, nah.
Well, we'll
Can't get
figure
to
that
it.
out when we try and do a skid in it and see if it's got traction control or
That's
not.
right, yeah. Anyway, yeah, there. Thanks so much, guys, for helping us
That's
out
right.
with this.
It's
We
been a
we
pleasure.
apologize for the bit of the disaster, but
It's not a disaster. What was the disaster?
Coffee.
the
Oh, the
coffee.
coffee.
Blend
Yeah.
43.
Well,
Well,
but
it's
yeah,
just-
we really-
Obviously,
I was
you know what the
just about
disaster
to forget
was.
about it, but anyway.
we really appreciate you guys coming on and helping us out with our first
good. No
episode.
problem.
And please
Happy
plug
to be
anything you need to plug, even though you might be plugging
Oh.
it to maybe 2 to 3 people. But, those 2 to 3 people,
Those 2 to
may
3
not know
people
who
are
you
on
are.
this table.
Yeah.
I'd like to give a quick shout out to Earl Davis for being just a general good bloke. Yeah.
There you go.
Mm.
And
How
getting
do you
us
spell
around.
that?
E
Lowercase.
lowercase EARL
Hyphen.
hyphen
Capital D.
D AVIS.
All right, there you
Earl
go.
Davis.
And that's a
Earl
great
Shout out to
name.
Earl Davis.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please go subscribe to these guys' YouTube channels and Instagram accounts, and more importantly, TikTok accounts.
TikTok.
In the 7th
I haven't
year.
posted in a week. Fuck.
Yeah, 7th year at North Borders. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you
Thank
next
you.
time.
So yeah.
See ya.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Just how we end it. Okay.